Whatever kind of night you're having, start it off right with Drizzly, the go-to app for drink delivery. Whether you're mixing up a bullet bourbon old-fashioned for a cozy night in, or Kettle One Bloody Mary bar for a birthday brunch, you can get the perfect beer, wine, and spirits for any occasion delivered with Drizzly. So,
what's it gonna be?
Download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com. That's DRIZLY.com to choose your drinks today. Must be 21 plus, not available in all locations.
Welcome to the Agrihood. Carnes Crossroads is a new home community with a farm-to-table lifestyle. Just outside of Charleston, here, community is defined by gathering together and our deep connection to nature.
Learn more at carnescrossroads.com.
Hey guys, welcome back to Free Terrible Gamers, episode 37. I'm here with the reliable Ashton as always.
That's right, I am reliable. Hey guys, how you doing?
Alright. Obviously Ashton had topics left over from last week, so leave it to me to go steal. They're still relevant, so
Right.
We're going to cover them anyways. Alright, PS Plus Essentials for May.
So we got Grid Legends, Chivalry 2, and Descenders.
Chivalry?
Chivalry? I thought it was Chivalry. Whatever. Anyway, I've never played any of these games. I believe, is it Chivalry? That's like a bike game or something along those lines.
Yeah, that's the only game I've ever heard of out of those three.
Yeah. I may have heard of Descenders, but it may be something else. And there's a lot of games that start with the letter D, so I might be thinking of something else.
Yeah. Especially with descending involved in it. I've descended in a lot of games.
Yeah, that's true. I may be even thinking about Dishonored.
Yeah, that's a good possibility. I don't think the two games are related though.
No, I don't think so, not at all. But yeah, so if you may be able to try these games out, they may be good. If you have a PS Plus subscription, try them out. That's part of the subscription, free with the subscription. So
They came out on May 2nd.
Yep.
Yeah, May 2nd. So by the time you hear this, they're already out. So go grab them up if you got a PlayStation.
Right.
All right, moving on to the rivals. Games of Gold for May.
All right. We have Star Wars Episode 1 Racer and Hoa. So Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, it's a Star Wars racing game. So you just go around your pod racers or whatever and race. Not something I'd really be interested in because I'm not a Star Wars fan. And Hoa, it's more like a puzzle sort of game. So if you like puzzle games, then check it out. So this kind of goes along with the past several. I mean, I can't even pick a start date that the games with gold have been trash. It's been years since there's been good releases. So I mean, since they quit, since they quit releasing,
Go ahead.
since they quit releasing, good 360 games, since they just started coming out with actual Xbox One games, it hasn't been good in my opinion.
I was going to say, pretty much ever since it switched over to Xbox One, they pretty much sucked.
Yeah, exactly. 360 games was top tier. I mean, even a bad 360 game was worth checking out usually.
Yeah, and those games release, the Star Wars one is already out. It's for the 1st until the 31st. And then HOA, I call it HOA because there's a bunch of HOAs down here, so it's just anytime I see that wording, I'm just calling it HOA. But the puzzle game is available May 16th, which still won't be out by the time this releases, to the 15th of June.
Right. Yeah, so, and Star Wars Day was, at the time of recording, it was yesterday. So I'm sure that is why it's one of the games of gold. It's because of May.
But they're both $20 games anyways.
Yeah,
if you was to get them outside of free range.
Right.
Because the thing is, you can download them now and then decide not to do it every time they expire. They still be in your inventory, so therefore they still be free.
Yeah. You
And if
don't,
you wouldn't have to purchase them.
right. You don't necessarily have to download them to claim them. You just have to go in there and claim them, and then you can download them anytime once you own them.
So it's a nice little glitch in the. Well, I think that's their whole purpose.
Right.
Because right now, where the games aren't worth really playing. There goes our Xbox Gold sponsorships.
That's right. They're going to do it with gold eventually anyway, I'd say, and it's just going to go all to Game Pass. And the online will be tied through Game Pass, I would assume, because that's their end goal was to just sell Game Pass. I mean, it's a far stretch, but I think eventually they're just going to do it with console anyway and just do all cloud and all Game Pass.
That's what they're working up for.
Yep.
Speaking of which, the CMA calls out Nintendo and Call of Duty
All
related
right.
with the whole entire Microsoft situation.
CMA's getting on my nerves now. Okay, so it says one proposal that came about as a part of the acquisition was Microsoft's 10-year commitment to bring Call of Duty games to the Switch, which the CMA believes is not technically capable of running the game in a manner resembling the experience on the more powerful platforms. It says Nintendo does not currently offer Call of Duty, and we have seen no evidence to suggest that its consoles would be technically capable of running a version of Call of Duty that is similar to those in Xbox and PlayStation in terms of quality, gameplay, and content. And it says, goes on to say, this comment in the CMA's report comes despite Microsoft's previously shown confidence in the visibility of a port. Back in February, Microsoft President Brad Smith stated that the series would run as you would expect on the Switch, and this was later emphasized by Microsoft Gaming CEO and boss Phil Spencer, who stated that the company was aiming to bring the best version of Call of Duty to all platforms, Switch included. All right, so the CMA is full of crap because, of course, the Switch is not going to run Call of Duty 60 frames per second at 4K, but it could run Call of Duty 30 frames per second, 1080, or 720 handheld. And even for some reason, if it couldn't, bring a cloud version over. That's apparently the whole big deal behind the CMA canceling out the Brazil anyway, is the big cloud issue. So either any of those solutions would get Call of Duty on the Switch. If they got Call of Duty on the Wii, which was just basically a GameCube hardware wise, they can get it on the Switch.
Yeah, which I know the CMA's whole entire logic behind it is the gigabyte difference. Because let's be honest, if they was to release it on standard gigabytes from what the thing is, you'd have to have like 5 switches for it to download one game. But
Or a good sized
uh,
micro SD card.
yeah, but the actuality of it is, it's. I understand where they're coming from with it, but like you said, it's not very logical with what they're capable of doing.
The Switch can run Fortnite, which is a shooter, a fast paced shooter, not quite on the limit of Call of Duty, but it's still up there on terms of hardware. You know, it takes some hardware to run Fortnite, not a cloud version. And so the Fortnite runs 30 frames per second on the Switch, 1080p.
Mhm.
Call of Duty could. It might
Easily.
take some work to make a port. It'd probably be easier just to bring a cloud version over. But even if they just done a cloud version, they would still fulfill their promise of Call of Duty on the Switch, which would, I mean, the CMA, they're just, apparently they know that it's capable. Just Sony's giving them that money to deny that deal, is what I think.
Yeah, as we discussed last week, that's pretty much the only thing going on with it. I mean, that's just an obvious direction for what they're going for in it. And like I said, just it being the UK mainly blocking it, I don't even know if that's going to affect us over here. But in the actuality of the whole entire thing, I think if one person does it, everyone else is just going to kind of follow suit just naturally.
Right.
But it could be one of those things where the UK is just screwed, and then we wind up getting it over here anyways. Because I mean, this is the first time it's happened, so this is pretty much going to set the precedence from here on out.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I hope that it's just the UK. I mean, sorry for you UK listeners, but I'd really like to see some Call of Duty on the Switch. And maybe eventually, if we do end up getting it over here in the US and other countries besides the UK, maybe the CMA will be like, oh, you know what? We were wrong. You guys, the UK can have it now. I don't know. But they may just block the entire thing. I don't know what kind of authority they have to do that. I know other, you know, agencies and around the world have approved the deal already. So who has more power where is the question, to who can get it pushed through, who can deny it, or does it have to be a complete yes vote and nobody votes no? I don't know how that works.
Yeah, it's it's been 12 years since we've had a Call of Duty on a Nintendo system, correct? With Modern Warfare 3,
I
because it came out.
I believe so. Well, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2 came out in 2012, right?
Mm-hmm. So Modern
Well,
Warfare
we
3
had
came out the year.
I thought Modern Warfare 3 came out the year before Black Ops 2.
Yeah, it'd be 2011. That's what I'm saying. It'd be 12 years. It's 2023.
Well, yeah, well Black Ops 2 came out on the Wii U. So yeah.
Okay, so I didn't have a Wii U, so yeah, that makes sense then.
Yeah. Yeah, if they can get Black
So
Ops
that's
2 on the Wii U, they can get Call of Duty on the Switch.
which is pretty much just a bigger, fancier GameCube. Since Ashton's logic with the Wii software.
I mean, that's really all the Wii was. It was basically just a overclocked GameCube. It was that's why it was so easy for Nintendo to do backwards compatibility on the Wii, is because it was just an overclocked GameCube. That's all it was. No more hardware, you know, upgrades or anything. It was just a GameCube and
You just
hard.
get a bigger disc
Yeah, you just get a bigger disc and the computer run a little harder, if it's overclocked.
and better internet capabilities, even though everyone still had dial up.
Right.
If you was lucky, you had DSL, but it's still not really that much of a difference.
No, no, we've came a long
Just
ways internet wise. That's for sure.
oh yeah. Sticking with Nintendo, Splatoon and Link's Awakening remake composer is leaving the company.
Yep, so it says here longtime composer at Nintendo, Ryo Nagamatsu, has left the company after 17 years to work a little wider. Whose most well known and works in his most well known works include The Legend of Zelda A Link Between Worlds, Mario Kart 8, Splatoon 2, Splatoon 3, and Link's Awakening remake on Switch. And he also wants to help those who need my help and to help the industry. And it says he left the company on good terms. So good for him. Sometimes when you're with a company in this type of job, making music for one company, you just want to go somewhere else eventually. You get tired of being on the same company. So good for him, moving on on good terms. And he's made a lot of good music for a lot of great games. So,
Yeah, it's definitely sucks seeing him go though, since he's composed so much in the past 17 years.
right.
A lot of memorable music from several games that he's done.
Yeah. Especially the Zelda
But
games.
yeah, but the actuality of it is exactly what you said. Some people get tired of working for the same company, so go elsewhere, especially if you're able to do better for yourself. Never judge a person if they're going to make themselves better.
Right. I mean, in Nintendo, they're a kid friendly company. I wouldn't say kid focused, but kid friendly. So maybe he's wanting to do something like God of War or something, a little more adult oriented or something. You never know. I mean, maybe not, but I'm just saying he wants to work a little wider. He said so. Maybe that's his words for that. He wants to go do something a little more mature.
Yeah, can't necessarily fault the guy.
Nope.
All right, moving on to the next one. Overwatch 2 players react to Blizzard's response.
You take this one away. I wasn't able to find anything on it.
All right, I found it mainly through Game Rant, which they had more of an update on it this morning. I guess Blizzard was kind of tone deaf to the season 4 release of the new, obviously a new season on Overwatch 2. Never played the first one, definitely haven't played the second one, but I guess it's a pretty big community. And I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily relating to the whole entire Activision buyout trying to go on because obviously they're attached.
Right.
So I don't know as a company this is why, but at the same time, but quoting from the article is this morning Blizzard responded to this issue, acknowledging that players were so anytime they was logging in, they was getting not necessarily well, yeah, few of them got banned just for no reason at all. And then while they're logging in, it says that there's an update required, and then it just never goes past that screen. Like there's just a bug saying that there's an update when there's not. And I guess there's been extremely disproportional matchmaking recently, which can make a big difference in gaming on how fun the game is going to be. Because if you're a novice gamer and you want to be against other novice people, then and then you go on there and you're getting slayed by literally people that never put the game down, then you're not going to have
Right.
But with them acknowledging it and stating that the developers were currently investigating the problem and trying to resolve it, but also stating that the bans apply to players of the bug and they would not overturn the bans.
They won't overturn the ban.
No.
Wow.
Not until so
that's how you get your community behind you right there.
That's right. And many players have rightfully gotten upset with Blizzard about this response, which speaks volumes about how little they care for their players. These seemingly endless issues and Blizzard's lack of actions don't go well for the game's continued popularity.
Wow.
So what's your opinion on that?
Sounds like to me people just need to find a new game to play because, I mean, it's Activision Blizzard. They're not going to care. Their focus is Call of Duty, and if your account gets banned on Call of Duty, they probably wouldn't care on there either because they got millions of other players that their accounts are just fine and they're spending money. So, I mean, Activision's that type of company anymore. They got a big, huge fan base, so they don't really care. From what I could tell, in that article and others I've seen, they don't really care about their fans. They know their games are going to sell and they're going to make money anyway. So,
looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projection for a wide variety of stats, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and injury insurance on your picks are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million players who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/get100 and use code GET100. That's code GET100 at prizepicks.com/get100 for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
Yeah, it's sad for the players, but at the same time, it's just so funny how you can just be like, "Nah, I don't really care about my player base."
yeah, how you can not care so much about the people that make you the money. That's crazy. Not taking care of your fans, but that's just how they are. I mean, they make so many games and have so many franchises.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't know what games they do make. Like the new Crash and Spyro games. A lot of people don't know that they make those and they're going to buy them anyway because nostalgia for them. The older games
Yep.
and stuff. So a lot of people boycott Activision and Blizzard for certain things that's went on inside the company, but a lot of people don't know what they make, so they still buy games they don't know that they make.
Yeah. World of Warcraft is a big one too.
Right.
Since
Exactly.
Blizzard had them, and once they got acquired by Activision, it's that's one of the main things, and that's probably one of the biggest gaming bases there is.
Right.
So those people are always going to be spending money on there, so they can really care less about the Overwatch 2 players.
Right. And a lot of people don't even know Activision owns Blizzard. So I mean, it's they're playing Activision's game no matter what. So
Yep. Yeah. So if you
it
want to keep on playing Overwatch 2, go for it. But if not, we don't blame you.
so it sounds like a lot of companies don't care about their fans recently because was it last week or week before we was talking about Bungie not releasing patch notes for their updates on Destiny 2 and it's got everybody mad and just saying just go ahead and release Destiny 3. We're done with this game.
Yeah,
After years and years of leveling up, we're done. We're done with the crap. Just release a new game.
that's right. Let's spend more money.
Right. Let's 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 get you more money even after you're treating us bad.
They know they got them right. I mean, they know for the most part. I mean, I'm not going to say every single gamer is an addiction, but there is some with addictions that.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just one of those things to where they know who's going to buy the games. It don't matter what they do to them.
See, I don't think I could be like that. The only franchise I could be like that with is Zelda. I don't care what they call me. I'm gonna buy a Zelda game. I don't care what they do to me. But Nintendo, they're not that type of company though to do that to people.
And that most of these games are online based, and
Right.
obviously
Nintendo don't do that.
discussing that. Yeah, that most of their first party titles are, you know, single console.
Right.
I mean, minus Mario Kart, but minus that, it's usually just in the local play.
Yeah. Yeah, and even if Nintendo did do online, like say Overwatch or Destiny 2, they know they've been around long enough. They know who their money comes from. So yeah, they might
Yeah.
make fans mad sometimes with some of their decisions because Nintendo is Nintendo and does weird things, but they try to always put the fan and the customer first, which a lot of companies forget to do. They forget who makes their money, so they kind of just toss the fan aside and think they're going to make money regardless, which most of the time they're right, sadly.
And what Animal Crossing is another online one that's not necessarily relied on local play.
Right. Yeah, it's
So that's
it's
really the
online
only
one.
thing that has like major online, like I said, minus Smash Brothers and Mario Kart.
Right. Yeah.
But their main titles are all single play, or local play, so it should just be as easy as it is. It's kind of hard to make people mad once the game's out and it's not online based. I mean,
Right.
yeah, games can they still release patch notes to fix the bugs or whatever, but that's still highly unlikely, and usually a lot of people stumble across it before they fix it anyway. So they're just like, okay, I need
Right.
to do this.
And the closest thing from Nintendo we've got from this is like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet was awful, and I think it's still running pretty crappy. But Nintendo only has so much say in that. It's Game Freak that's mostly to blame. It's not Nintendo
Hmm.
themselves. Nintendo, if they had the complete say, I would say they would be running a whole lot better than they are because it's not up to Nintendo to just say, "Hey, we're going to make this patch real quick." It's not them, it's Game Freak. So
Because even though it's a first party title, they don't own it like they
right,
do with Mario.
it's owned in thirds, so they don't own it completely. They don't have complete control over it. So
Yep. All right, sticking with Nintendo, Tears of the Kingdom file size reduces with no explanation. kind of ironic that we're talking about this, but
Right. All right. Yeah. So Tears of the Kingdom comes out in a week at the time of recording. And so just put that out there. Okay, so it says it seems Nintendo has updated the file size on the official game page once again. No longer is it the biggest digital release on the system, with the Japanese video game company seemingly reducing it from around 18 gigabytes down to about 16 gigabytes. The eShop listing in the US, Japan, and other regions say it will require approximately 15.9 gigabytes of free space, compared to Breath of the Wild coming in at 14.4 gigabytes. And it says Tears of the Kingdom is still officially the bigger game of the two. Obviously, in general, it's still a rather large file size, with other recent games like Xenoblade Chronicles 3 only taking up about 14 gigabytes. So, a lot of people are making a big deal out of this, but I mean, it, the game's been done for a while, so it's not like they're just going back and cutting content out, and that's why it's reducing. I'm sure there's another explanation for it. I wasn't able to find anything because it says with no explanation, but I'm sure it's not because they're just cutting content out just because they want to, or just because the Switch won't hold it. I mean, the game's been done. It's been in warehouses for months, I would say, at this point, so it's not just gonna be cutting content.
I mean, if it is, it would more than likely with the file size be DLC related if it was.
Right.
Because they can release our game like that and put out the initial size of it and reduce it because of they didn't take in consideration for that. But obviously they wouldn't be like, oh yeah, no, we cut out 2 gigabytes worth of data because that's the file size for each DLC. Obviously, if they was to accidentally mess it up like that, they're not going to come out and say it.
Right.
So, like I said, to me, that's the only logical explanation there would be to cut content because that's pretty much how you downgrade size is by cutting content.
Right.
It's
And it would
like
take more work to cut the content to make the game line up right than
Mhm.
just to leave the content in there.
Exactly.
They wouldn't have had time in the short amount of time since we've seen that it's reduced to fix the game in time for it to release in a week.
No. Like I said, I think they had a plan all along. And they, like I said, whenever they initially said what size it was going to be, they was like, they didn't take into consideration the DLC size. So therefore, they're just like, okay, we're going to take out the DLC size. So, like you said, the game's not going to be ruined because of it because everything's already set into place.
Right.
But doesn't mean that they're not cutting content because they technically will be cutting content because it's going to be behind a paywall eventually. But
But not
it's just
not just the base game, not the base game
no.
content.
You wouldn't be cutting content from the base game. You'd be cutting content from the DLC.
Right. Yeah, or I
Which
mean, it could even be you pop your cartridge in or you download it the first day it releases in a week, and then you got a 2 gigabyte update, and there's your 18 gigabytes. I mean, it could be that. That's a possibility too.
there's say could. I mean, there's moderately anything simple of what it is. People, I think, are going to take it out of context no matter what.
Right, they'll go to the worst thing. Oh, Nintendo's shortening its content. No, not necessarily.
Because, or it could be, different patches that they went ahead and patched and that just ironically enough got rid of some data. It don't
Yeah,
really,
bugs, and
there's no,
getting rid of bugs will take data away. Maybe not that much, 2 gigabytes worth, but it'll still take some away.
yeah. It'd be a pretty big game if that was 2 gigabytes of bugs.
Yeah, like Redfall.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and hop to that topic, then we'll skip the one and go to it.
Okay.
Since you wanted to mention it. All right. Redfall rating and scores.
All right. So at the time of research, which was like Tuesday, I believe, it was a 62 with 7 positive, 30 mixed, and 6 negative. And that comes in with a 2.2 user score with 123 reviews at that time. Definitely not good for Microsoft and Bethesda. And people were saying it's really broken and buggy. And, people thought that, which is common with Bethesda, people call them Bug Bethesda, that they release games in this state. People were hoping with Microsoft buying them that they would change their ways, but obviously, with one of Microsoft's biggest games of the year behind Starfield, it's not changed. And yeah, these bugs they may be able to fix with a patch. I'm sure they will, but that's not the point. We've talked about before. The point is getting a good product day one out there. Yes, there's going to be bugs, but it doesn't have to be completely broken.
Yeah, I think I done all mine yesterday, looking up the things. So from Thursday, it's actually dropped. It's like a 59 Metacritic now, opposed to a 60.
Wow.
So the game's getting, as we go on, which more people are getting it now. It's getting closer to the weekend, therefore it's closer to payday, so therefore more people are buying the game to leave these reviews. But it's one of those things to where, yeah, if you release a buggy game, that's exactly what's going to happen. This was one of the most highly anticipated releases this year, and they definitely dropped the ball on it.
Yeah, that's for sure. And it's just really bad for Microsoft because they haven't had a good first party game come out in a couple years now, because these Redfall and Starfield has just been delayed and delayed and delayed, and then they come out with this. It just doesn't look good on them at all.
It's about Cyberpunk's book.
Yeah, right, exactly. So,
But who knows? They could easily turn the game around to being one of the best games out there.
right,
But
with patches and bugs, and people were even saying it's too easy, which they could also fix with a patch. It might take a little bit of work, but they could release another difficulty option, to make it a little harder.
Is there only one difficulty option now?
I'm not
Because I
sure.
know most have 2 or 3 at
Yeah,
least.
I'm sure there is more than one, but people are saying even on the hardest difficulty, it's still too easy.
Well, then you might be too good at the game then.
Right? Start sucking into games like us. Be terrible gamers.
Be a terrible gamer. That's how you fix that problem.
That's right.
Solved. Listen to our podcast and just suck at video games.
That's right.
We do.
We do. It's easy.
It's easy to suck. It's hard to be good.
That's right.
All right. Got time for one more?
Yeah.
Phil Spencer reacts to the UK block.
All right. So it says here, head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, called the Competition and Market Authority, CMA, decision to block Microsoft's Activision Blizzard acquisition disappointing, while reiterating the company's confidence in and commitment to closing the deal. The CMA's decision was disappointing, said Spencer. I've been talking to that group for almost a year. They've defined the market of cloud gaming that in his mind doesn't really exist yet. I said that last week, that the reason for the clouding, it doesn't even make sense because it's not there yet. Cloud gaming is still new, and there's other companies doing it besides Microsoft, and they've made deals with those said companies. So the CMA's reasoning makes zero sense whatsoever for blocking it. Sony's paying them off. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Phil Spencer basically said what Ashton just said, but in a more professional tone.
Right. They're like, Sony's paying these guys off. That's basically what Phil Spencer said. Without mentioning Sony, that's what he said.
Yeah. We're just Phil Spencer's voice right now.
Yeah. We're just saying what he meant to say that he couldn't say in public.
I guess technically, in a way, we're saying it in public too, but we're just not as big as Phil Spencer yet.
Right. Yeah. We won't get in trouble for saying it like he would.
And now we're officially going to get our Xbox Gold post red ad back.
That's right. We're not getting any free PlayStation merch or nothing, that's for sure.
That's right. But yeah, it's Phil Spencer. I had every right to be upset. Pretty much everyone that's not a PlayStation fan is upset.
Exactly. Yeah, everybody but Sony fans and Sony themselves. are upset that this deal isn't going through.
Which even Sony fans don't even have a right to be upset because they would still be getting the game too. It's
Right.
just literally the
Spoiled brats is what they are. Sony.
Sony don't know how to negotiate with anybody
No, they're
or
just
to
care
make
about
happen. I mean,
themselves. They've always been like that.
even
Just
Nike,
care about themselves. That's it.
yeah, definitely won't ever get anything from Sony. That's for sure.
No.
But that is all the time we have for today, guys. Follow our socials, YouTube, TikTok. I've been kind of slacking on that range, but we're planning on getting back into it. Twitter, Discord, our Mastodon account, which is a gaming thread as well. Twitch, Instagram.
A little bit of everything.
Like I said, pretty much the account you can. Everything but Kick, which is what Ashton uses for his own personal channel.
Right. We do stream our episodes live on YouTube and Twitch, and then I stream live on Kick and Twitch. So not tonight. I usually do after, but I got work tomorrow, so cannot.
Well, later, guys.
See you guys next week.